The frantic tone of the commentator ramping up a fierce Saudi attack on Egypt's goal interrupted Mohammed as he placed the final coal on a shisha belonging to one of Nakheel's regulars. "It doesn't matter, does it?" he said, throwing a sidelong glance at the washed-out screen. "I just want a good game," he told his Saudi customer. The Saudi Arabian and Egyptian flags flanking the 8-meter screen represented the loyalties in this traditional Arab cafe along Jeddah's Corniche. Like many of the 50 or so Nakheel employees, the shisha master is from Egypt, across the Red Sea from this coastal establishment, but the patrons were mostly local. 4 industrial-sized air conditioning units insulated those in attendance from the heat and humidity so characteristic of Jeddah. A string upon which the flags of all 32 qualified World Cup teams flickered as they bore the brunt of the cool air blowing into the tent, instilling the makeshift theater with a certain sportsman-like spirit. Nonetheless, aside from those few die-hard fans and the dozen or so regulars in for an early start on their daily dose of shisha, the seats of the massive 300-capacity tent set up for the World Cup were empty at the start of the match. The attendance was a far cry from that of Egypt and Saudi Arabia's first 2 matches. Not a single spot. We had to bring in chairs for the other games, but now I think we just wanted more for all the Arab teams. Not a single one made it to the round of 16, he said. Mohamed Salah's beautiful goal in the 20th minute was met with the stifled celebration of the Egyptian employees, cautious not to upset the other Arabs in the coffee shop. Even the Premier League's top goal scorer was subdued in his celebration, seemingly in a similar situation. In the most Arab World Cup since it began, citizens of the 4 competing nations and Arab football fans are left pondering the reasons behind teams' failure to win a single match. It doesn't look like they want to win. When you see how hungry other teams' players are goals, you can tell they are there to win and to make a name for themselves. Abdullah Walid said. A blocked Saudi penalty at the 40th minute drives home his point. "Our team was doing so well, and they are the winningest in the Asian Cup, but here, on the world stage, we expect more from them," he said. Minutes later, the referee spots another foul in Egypt's penalty box. The newly implemented video review reinforced the decision to grant the penalty to the green-clad team in the final moments of the first half. "Maybe it's this new technology we can blame," he said jokingly. Read more. World Cup 2018, Day 12 live updates. Egypt face Saudi Arabia. Cooper. Egypt, determined to bow out of the World Cup in style. Pizzi vows players will make Saudi Arabia proud. Against Egypt in pictures, Salah's pain and brief joy as Egypt beaten by Russia. But nonetheless, Saudi Arabia score their first goal at the Russian World Cup. Many in the cafe would be happy with the result, making equal the Arab world's 2 strongest powers. Those 20 fans, who swelled to triple by halftime, cheered the goal, filling the massive tent with the sound of jubilation. The goal at the end of halftime seems to have activated the Saudis in the second half, whose increased attack drew more enthusiasm from the fans. Their presence tipped the attendees' makeup, with the majority cheering on even nice passes by the Green Falcons. "We know they are capable of more, that's the problem. I don't know who to blame. Maybe it's how they started, but we believe in our teams," said another fan who did not want to be named. But in the final moment of the second half, the Saudi fans finally get what they have waited for since its beginning of the World Cup, a Saudi goal that leads to a win. A man, who handed out sheets for those watching to place their predictions at the beginning of the match, looked over at those who put 2-1 as the final score, and smiles. "This is at the end of the day football. Sometimes you win, other times, you lose." Abdul Razak Bash. "But the important thing is that we love each other.